we worked towards a savings of something like $27,000 per annum that the company was actually able, plus they had the value of actually being productive all of that time too. So, and then we've actually got the call-out situation as well, and what we've tried to do in the call-out environment is actually, again with the collective intelligence, we've lost this, for the example, we've lost hoisting. What could be the potential issues that I would face? We would prioritise them and action them accordingly. The reason that we've done that is so that we can actually get in, get out as promptly as possible. When you start talking about your hourly rates and things like that, it's sort of, we've seen, and I'll come through to this, in fact I might just flick through for the next. Our reporting is dynamic. Well, I was saying standardised and systemised. We've created a standard model or structure, but we can dynamically update this, or we can sort of just refine. You didn't spell this particular thing properly, okay, I'll error-proof that and we'll refine that. We've got drop menus so that we actually have selections which equally tell us where they are as a risk profile associated to the client, so we know from an action point of view to how to prioritise that. And we can give some technician feedback in here with the direct data entry. Up above, and it was one of the slides that I've reduced at the moment, but we can also, on the submit button now, we've already opened the job, we've already had a discussion about what the job's going to be, we've already drafted the invoice, and now we've actually, on submit here, we're actually connecting up all the data again. So we're now actually at the process of starting to raise the invoice. We've done the service, we've sent them via immediate email, the reporting, plus now we're about to follow up with the actual invoice as well, associated to the time taken or the standard model. So again, just going back into the value added ratio and what we've been focusing on, just to sort of give an illustration. This is something that we've been measuring the time associated to some different servicing types that we've been doing. It's based on my personal experiences that I can comprehend. It's based on not so much assumptions, but some assumptions around costs, which I've put at a cost of labour at $60 an hour, and I've also made some assumptions with verified conversation as well. But if you look at our past expense, it's a cumulative, okay? Our past expense, current expense and future expense, we've actually turned the ratio around the other way. So our 95% non-value adding is virtually gone. So again, we're sort of trying to measure that in time. So again, with my focus being on the outer edges, which I'll call the focus points, and understanding that these are actually really costing us a lot of time, money, profitability, whatever way you want to look at it. It really is all coming down to our wages, our salaries, whatever it might be consumed in that area as well. So, part of my lean journey is that I've worked with Dennis and Lean Logic now for a bit over 3 years. Our company isn't the size of your companies. Our company doesn't basically I've had to do this everything by myself, with myself, for myself as a growing company. But I want to thank you all, because each time I come to these workshops, I actually take away a little bit of value that you've learned as well. So each time I get up and talk, I hope that somebody gets something from what I present. As I think somebody was saying earlier, we each take away something that we might be able to add back into our own businesses, and that's, for me, been one of the benefits of being allowed to come and get involved and sort of watch what everybody's doing and just sort of write down some little points that I can take away and add back value again. So that to me has been really good. But I've certainly got to thank Lean Logic and Dennis. The accumulation of knowledge and experience that Dennis has been able to both add or introduce me to is given me an unbelievable clarity and support to where I'm going, and certainly as part of that tag development, it's been influential and just life-changing for me. So value adding for everyone, from everyone, as I say, and I think it's all about collective intelligence. I think we can all learn from each other, and we all have strengths and weaknesses, and it's really working with each other as effectively a team. You know, we can learn off each other. So just again, I want to close out big questions. All that non-value adding time, it's all costing in some way or another. And thank you very much.
So we have any questions, Tom?
Just on one of the early slides that you had up, there was a statement about removing my personal time management issues. Just wondering whether you can expand
I
on
keep
that.
building them as well, though, don't I? It's crisis control versus productive. So the journey of time so far is like, my experience tells me if I do this, then this is going to happen. So I've tried to best prepare myself to prevent the issues as well. By putting those systems in place, I've tried to prevent the trips and stumbles as I go. And I'm still learning each day, so I try and refine my processes as an individual. But it's really consult for my personal time is like that 95% non-value adding. I've tried to change that around and put some methodology to my time. Does that sort of answer what you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
How are you going to cascade that to your workers and keep it sustained, I guess? Because obviously you put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, look, and likewise to that, the system's been created on the web, and it's meant to be a scalable system, and I had a concept of building this towards a franchise or a license type system being tagged throughout on a national basis. And on each page, we've actually introduced a 2, 3, 4, up to 5 minute video on that you can now tap into, and it's that page. So it's micro information associated to. And that's sort of, to date, that's working reasonably well. Nothing's perfect yet, but it's been a journey. Is that?
Yeah.
How do you keep the frustration under control? Because typically the word lean is like lean meat. When you're cutting down the fat, then the workers receive in a different connotation. But they know like cost reduction, the old days downsizing, the restructuring. Those buzzwords have damaged the sort of manufacturing industry for say last 10, 15 years. Very interesting concept. People always, not everybody gets the same tone. They're getting a little bit of a distorted way of looking.
Yes.
This is again coming with another step. So how do you manage that frustration and the sort of the communication to get the people involved and enthusiastic and motivated?
Just help me with the. Are you asking me how do I manage the frustration that I experience, or is it?
No, you experience it.
I think one of my nicknames along the years has been angry, and it would be a build-up of frustration. But what I've been able to do, and it was again very early days of being involved in lean, my frustration was, well, you know, can we just put the immediate thing can we just put the bin there? Yes, no worries, so it ends up here. Can we just put the bin there? No, and it ends up there. It's like the frustration's building now, isn't it? So hang on a second. Why can't we put it there? If we mark out a demarcated area, that's where the bin goes, says the markings, that's where the bin now goes. So as visual aids have helped me alleviate so much of that frustration as well. Visual communication, somewhere today we've heard how that makes life so much easier, that now I can see it, now I can actually see what's going on a lot easier, and it's alleviating so much more frustration.
Did you use another, like your right-hand man type of guy, like a go-to person on the implementation? somebody who has a good or clever in communicating and
We've-
sort of helping along the journey.
Just as I hope I'm answering your question, TAG as a company, or TAG Cranes as a company to start, has really been about putting these systems together. Now, as of pretty much January, February, we've started to expand into building the team and finding the right people to have on the team. And I think, to answer your question, we've got fantastic people on board. I believe there's great people, and then there's fantastic people, and I reckon we're building a team of fantastic. So I think I'm about to either shoot myself down by saying they're fantastic, or I'm about to experience a different journey again, which then I might be able to answer in 3 more months.
Well,
So,
thank you.
is that all right?
Yes.
You seem like a really positive, can-do sort of person. That's the way that you're coming across, certainly here. The world is not full of those people.
No.
So, the question in my mind is, are you just filling your organisation with those people who suit that mentality, and therefore you have less barriers to try and break your way through? Or have you had to work through those barriers with your team of people? And if so, what are the sorts of things you've had to do that?
Jeez. Wow. Look,
Is it
your
people the
spot
magic- Is it people the magic thing?
is people the magic thing. That's probably a great question, isn't it, for everybody? And on the flip side of that, the other side is, how often do you ask? And it's people management is such a big part of the equation at the same time. So having a great team of people is certainly going to make life easier and that journey easier. To have everybody on the same program, which is, I've said earlier today, is the reason that we're all here, is, or why the 3 of us are here, is to actually see what we can get from this mindset. And when you sort of put me on that pedestal, my experience of such a vast range, I suppose, probably does make me a little bit of a unique character, for sure. But it's also come over a journey of 32 years or 31 years, and being a hands-on person, and I'd like to think not a bad guy, I've accumulated a number of work colleagues that, fundamentally we've built on working relationships